welcome to class. Today we'll be talking about how to find a great idea for your business. Whether you're already an entrepreneur or you are a potential entrepreneur, you are someone who wants to start their own business, the first thing you need is an idea. And in this course, I'm going to give you some helpful techniques to aid you in thinking of a great idea for your business. Thinking of an idea can be challenging. In fact, you could consider this the first challenge of your business, the first of many challenges, and a great challenge it is. Your idea could be something that you're interested in. It could be something you're passionate about, where you have skills or talents. Or it could be something that you think is feasible, where you think this will work, it'll give me some great experience, I'll learn something, and I'll make some money. Solving problems is one of the most common ways that inventions are ideated and businesses are born. As Peter Drucker philosophized, business is the art of problem solving. Think about challenges that you've faced and start brainstorming ways to resolve them. There's a really good chance that if you need a solution, other people do too. If you're having this problem, other people are having the same or similar problem, and they also need a solution. And this is one of my favorite ways to start a business, is to come up with a solution to something where there isn't one. So I'll give you a personal example of a problem that I run into on a daily basis and how I solved it. I didn't actually solve this problem. It has been solved for me. I solved my problem by paying for a product, okay? Here's the problem. I like having a bed where the blanket is pulled up. The sheets don't have to be perfect. They don't have to be straight. They don't even have to be pulled up. I just like my bed to look nice. So when I come into it at night, it is inviting. Now, what am I going to do? I don't want to spend my time and my energy and my minimal effort to pull up the sheets and pull up the blankets. When I get up, I like to hop out of bed and get on with my morning, especially if my husband is still sleeping. So this is a bit of a problem, right? What can we do? Well, I am not the only person to experience this as a problem. There are many other people experiencing making the bed as an everyday obstacle to getting on with the rest of the day. There's a company that created a solution for all of us people who don't want to make the bed, but we want to have our blanket pulled up. They created an inflatable blanket. So when the blanket is just on the bed, it inflates and it looks nice. Although if the blanket is folded over, as it inflates, it unfolds and it still looks nice on the bed. This was genius. This is how products are born and companies are started all the time. And this is also how companies, existing companies, offer new products and add more to their product line for customers like you and me. I'll give you an example. When my kids were young, they started doing their own laundry and they loved it. They loved the independence of choosing their schedule. They loved pushing the buttons. They even loved measuring the detergent. However, when they used the detergent, sometimes they would miss and sometimes they would spill. And while it wasn't a big deal, I didn't love having another mess to clean up. Well, I had this problem and I wasn't alone. Other people experience the same thing where they don't want to have to measure detergent. And what they did was they put detergent into little pouches. So now you can find Tide and other brands with liquid detergent in a plastic pouch. You stick it in your washing machine and boom, there's no measuring. You just grab one out of the bag. They've made doing laundry so easy. Do you see how that problem led to a solution which added a new product to their product line and made them more money? It's great. It's great for them. And for me, it solved my laundry problem of having messes, while still allowing my kids to do laundry and to have their independence. Another way to come up with a business idea is to think of an industry gap. And I realize this might be harder for a young person with limited experience, although you might be a young person with a lot of experience. Or you might be so creative that having whatever experience you have is just perfect, because you can use your creativity and ideate around that. Creating something to fill a gap might lead you to invent a new product, or it might lead you to improve a product that exists already, or offer a better service. How exciting! You get to do something in an industry that you already like. Now think about your interests and your experiences. I want you to think about what's missing from your experiences. So maybe you like golfing, and it's great except for when it rains, because then the grass is wet. What's missing from that experience of golf? Maybe it's dry grass. Maybe it's something else. Maybe it's a ball that actually hits well on wet grass. Think about your interests and the experiences that go along with your interests and how those experiences could be improved. I'd like to share with you a story about one of my students. When I taught at university, many of my students started and launched their business in our class. And one of these students came up with a great idea. It was so neat. And actually, he had an offer for investment during class. May I share this with you? All right. This student loved skateboarding, especially the thrill of going fast and pulling off tricks. And he loved putting the back of the skateboard down somehow so it would spark. And he realized that if he put the same sparking material on his glove, then he could put his glove down on the ground and that would shoot off sparks. What a clever idea, right? And he knew that this move would allow him to get more notoriety, and he made a prototype. So he made a model of his glove with the sparky material and he'd used it, and people started watching him and his moves looked so much cooler. And it really helped him because he had so much more practice from using his glove and wanting to skateboard even more, that he was able to take his skills to the next level. People started gathering and watching him, and he got some of the popularity that he was after, and it was great. He actually presented this to a panel of professionals that I brought in, and two of them had offered to invest in his business. One of them was an investment offer where it was, I'm interested in this, I'd like to help you out, give me a call. And then the other offer was, I will take you from ideation where you are, we'll brainstorm it more, we'll work on your prototype and improve it, and we'll get you into retail. That's a pretty good investment idea, especially for something that he had built because he wanted it. It was a gap in the market where he thought, hey, I think a sparking glove would be cool. He found this gap in the industry and he had the opportunity to turn his passion into a business. How neat. I want the same for you. I want for you to have the opportunity to turn your passion into a business if that's what you're interested in, if that's what you want. How do you even get started with this? Well, I thought of a couple ideas and I'll kind of sprinkle them throughout the course as we're going through this ideation process. I thought of, what about eco-friendly school supplies? So we're taking a cause of the environment and we're taking a problem, right, of non-environmentally friendly material that are used every year by students across the country, across the world. The idea here is that you would develop an affordable line of biodegradable school supplies, such as notebooks made from recycled paper, refillable pens so people consume fewer pens, all sorts of things that are beneficial to the environment, that are sustainable. That helps the cause, right? It allows you to have a product that people feel stylish when they're using. It's also functional and you make money on it. Do you see how we're taking a couple different concepts here? We're taking something that already exists and we're improving it. You see how there's a gap in the market of school supplies? Most school supplies aren't recyclable necessarily. They're not sustainable. They're not good for the environment. But if we took recycled and sustainable materials, you could create something that is both functional and stylish while supporting the cause. So that's where the gap in the market comes into play. This leads us to our third tactic. What's a product or a service that you think could be better? You like it, but it's good, but, right? In this situation, there's room for improvement. This idea creation tactic makes existing products and services even better than they are. So you're not creating anything new. You're simply improving and enhancing. Let's think about that student who improved the basic skateboard glove to sparking skateboard gloves. One small addition, just that little bit of material, made a huge difference for him. Let's think about what's currently on the market and think about ways that these products and services could be improved. Maybe they need to be simplified, maybe they need to be combined with another product or another concept, or maybe there's just room for improvement and they could be made better. So perhaps you like sneakers, although you would like them even more if you could customize them. Or you like your yearbook, although it would be better if it was interactive and you could customize yearbook and video and you could marry the two ideas. Or maybe you love playing soccer, although you really dislike cleaning your cleats. So you say, well, if I dislike cleaning my cleats, this everyday problem, other people probably also have the same everyday problem and dislike cleaning their cleats. You might start a mobile cleat cleaning business or a sports gear in general cleaning business. Or perhaps you would come up with a kit that you could sell to let other people quickly and easily clean their sports gear, right? So you're not running all over town. As long as we're talking about your interests, let's talk about your skills and hobbies and ways that you can leverage them. Maybe you like dogs and you're really skilled at walking dogs. You could offer your service as a dog sitter while people are away. You feed their dog, you take it on walks, you play with it, you send photos or texts and tell them that their dog is doing great, or if there's a problem, what the problem is. It's not a new service, although it's a service that you can improve upon. So you can find out what's currently being offered and you can offer it differently, or you might offer a greater service. Instead of a 15-minute walk, maybe it's a 15-minute walk followed by a paw cleaning when they get home so they don't track mud and dirt inside the house. That might be good. Or maybe it's also you're going to brush the dog. Or maybe you really like dog dental work and you like brushing dogs' teeth. Or, you want to make custom homemade dog treats for the dog, and you'll be very careful with whatever allergies the dog may have, right? However it is, you're taking your skill and your hobby and your interest and you're putting it out there for other people, and you can offer the same thing everyone else is offering. Or what you can do is you can tweak it to make your product and your service stand out a little bit, to make yours a little better. You can improve it. Maybe you're a great reader. You can offer your services to reading to the elderly at senior centers. You can offer them at a park to reading to children. And there's so many benefits that come from reading aloud and being read to, that you can actually benefit from this as well, perhaps, but you can offer these services to the different age groups, and if you market yourself well, you can get paid for this. You can charge for reading to people. That's pretty cool. So let's think about what you enjoy doing. Do you have any special skills that go along with what you enjoy doing? Can you turn your passions and your expertise into a business? For example, if you love gardening, you can offer garden planning, planting, and weed maintenance services. So people can have beautiful yards or gardens or edible gardens, and all they do is come out and reap the benefits while you put in the hard work. Although of course you get paid for it, so there's also a benefit for you. Now, maybe you speak a second language fluently. You can start a translation business or a tutoring business. Or if you want to do this and you don't want to find clients, you could partner with an attorney or a case manager, and they can call you in when they have clients that need translation services. You might also be able to partner with schools to offer your tutoring services across the board. And you can get paid for this. It's a skill that you already have. And that's pretty great. Let's continue to explore ways to monetize what you're already doing in your life, your skills, your hobbies, your interests. Here's my question for you. Are you ready? What trends do you follow? Do you stay informed about technology, about cultural shifts, about environmental changes? Use these trends and the changing trends to identify new opportunities. So for instance, if you're interested in the environment and tech gadgets, you might combine these two interests and these two trends into one. There's a demand, an increasing demand in fact, for environmentally friendly tech gadgets, such as solar-powered phone cases, biodegradable accessories. The demand for this area is growing. And one of the opportunities here is to develop a brand around eco-friendly tech accessories. And here's one of the best parts. You don't have to develop the product, okay? Maybe you're not an engineer or a scientist. You're just someone that loves tech gadgets. You care about the environment. You want to combine them for your business, right? You can actually source products that are already made, and you can sell them under your own brand, which is called white labeling. So really all you're doing here is coming up with your idea and finding products that someone else has already made. Something that I recommend doing is experimenting with side projects. There's lots of things that we like to do on the side. Maybe it's riding your bike, maybe it's foraging, maybe it's building, maybe it's even digging up fossils and gems. But whatever it is that your project and hobby is, start and see if you can sell what you make or what you do before scaling it into a big business, right? It's called starting small. If you start with a side project, you can see if there's demand. You can see if there's a customer base. You can talk with them and have real deep conversations and find out what they like, what they don't like, what they'd be willing to pay, how often they would either buy from you or use your services, where they would do this. And you can really hone in on what it is that you're going to do and what you're going to offer just by experimenting with your side projects. And maybe you're already doing them. Maybe you like to do Legos. Well, you can offer that as a business. You can teach people how to do Legos, or teach them the ins and outs of understanding some of the more confusing instructions, or how to get your Legos apart. I mean, there's lots of things you can do with a simple side project. The 7th and 8th tactics that I have to share with you are two of my favorites. Sometimes it's hard to sit there and to think of your own idea in a vacuum, right? In a silo without other people sharing with you or collaborating with you, giving you ideas, listening to yours, talking about things. And so the first thing I'm going to suggest is that you ask questions. Talk to people about their pain points. Find out other people's problems, whether it's at home or at work, just in their daily life. What obstacles do they run into? What are their challenges? And if you can empathize with them, like genuinely empathize, then that can actually spark ideas on how to solve these everyday problems. These conversations naturally foster brainstorming, problem identification, problem solving, and of course, ideation, business product, business service ideation. Plus, there's another benefit here. These conversations can give you deep insight into your potential customers, and it can really help round out some of your market research, which we'll talk about market research in an upcoming class. Although for now, just know that these conversations can be really, really valuable for starting a business and making sure that you start on the right foot. If you take this approach of asking questions, think about who you would talk with, where you would find them, when you would talk with them, what you might ask. And although you might come in with a whole list of questions, you might want to even let the conversation flow a little bit naturally and organically and grow, to let it go deeper and to let it go places you might not have thought of. And you might need to have more than one conversation to continue the brainstorm, and you might brainstorm with a couple people and come back to that first person. I definitely recommend asking questions and listening with an open mind. Even if you disagree, you might want to hear what the other person says. In fact, one of the best ways to win a debate is to understand the other side's argument so well that you could debate for them. Well, it's the same thing with product and service ideation, right? One of the best ways to come up with a product is to understand someone else's pain so well that you can almost feel it for them. And you can see the solution that they can't see necessarily because maybe they're too close to the problem. Along with asking questions goes collaboration and brainstorming. Maybe you're the think it through, toss some ideas around kind of person. You can do this while playing basketball. You can do it while you're taking a walk. You can do it at eating lunch. You can do this almost anytime. You don't need to have a formal setting. In fact, you don't need to have whiteboards with lots of writing on them. Although sometimes it is very helpful to have ideas that you can see written down. It's helpful to be able to cross things out. It's helpful to be able to write down thoughts, especially if you're thinking of multiple things at once in a conversation. You can write down all these ideas and you can continue on the conversation without forgetting any of your ideas and without interrupting. While you don't need a whiteboard, it may be beneficial to have a way to record some of these brainstorming sessions and the ideas that come out of them. Especially if you want to go back and look at your notes later, you can always do that. Once you have it written down, you can come back and you can say, oh, this was a great idea, or this was not a great idea, and here's what I would improve, or you can look at it and you might see it with fresh eyes the next day or the next week and say, oh, that reminds me I should do this and I could do this. And all of a sudden sparks start flying and your creative juices are flowing and you've got a great idea. Partner. I'm not suggesting you partner in your business, but I'm saying that for your brainstorm, partner with both like-minded individuals and also people who have different perspectives, because this will really spark conversation and creativity, and the ideas will just start to come. Focus on your community. That's my advice. You don't need to go across the globe to find people to help if you're cause-oriented. You don't even need to go to a couple states over to start selling products necessarily. If you start in your community, you can identify specific needs in your local area and you can actually develop a solution that's tailored to your neighbors. And if you see what's working and what's not working, you can quickly change it. Whereas if you're a far geographical distance from your base, it can be really hard to see what's going on. So I suggest that you start local. Also, if you start with people who care about you and want to support you, then you are more likely to get testimonials. You're more likely to have people help you with word of mouth without you having to ask and prompt them over and over, although you may still need to help them out a little bit with your word of mouth. And it's a great way to get the ball rolling. Did you like any of the ideas that we talked about? Did this spur you to think of any ideas? Is there anything here that you've heard of that you want to dig deeper in so far? In case you are totally stumped on how to start a business, I'll share some ideas that I came up with. You could probably modify at least one of these ideas to fit into your life and into your resource base. Most of them have a very low barrier for entry, which means it's pretty easy to get started with them, okay? First is a car wash. A mobile car wash where you take your hose and your pressure washer to someone else's location, or you set up in your driveway or your parking lot if you live in an apartment and you have people come to you. You might even be able to have a car wash at, for example, a gas station. There's many fundraisers happen there, just a car wash. If you're doing it in a public place like a gas station, you might need to tie in a cause. So some portion of the revenue, some portion of the proceeds that come in will be donated to some cause. Let's see. Another idea I came up with for you is to teach a class or to offer your tutoring services, right? So you might say, oh, I'm really good at chess. I think I'm gonna start offering my services as a chess tutor for people who wanna play competitive chess. And it's gonna be hard to find those people, so I better teach a class where people can come and learn how to play chess, and then I can identify people who really, really would do well with a little bit of extra one-on-one attention. Another thing you can do is you can sell your art, or the jewelry that you make, or the gems that you find and the fossils you dig up. You can make pottery and sell that. You can have a lemonade stand. This is one of my favorite ideas because it is so cliche to have a lemonade stand, right? Lots of people do it. It's not new, it's not unique. There's nothing really that special about it. However, let me tell you a little quick story, okay? My kids had lemonade stand. The first year it was in our community where we had a big community garage sale. So lots of houses had garage sales. We didn't have a garage sale, but the kids did set up a lemonade stand. So they have their lemonade stand and people came by and bought lemonade and left. No big deal. Lots of kids do this. Well, the next year they sold lemonade and cookies, and that was a huge hit. And the following year, it was so hot out, they had lemonade, cookies, and ice cream. Huge hit. And then the year after that, they offered lemonade, cookies, ice cream, and hot dogs. So people would come in and they'd get their lemonade and their hot dog, right, with all the condiments. And then they'd leave, and then they'd get tired and hot, and they'd come back and they'd come pick up their ice cream before they left the community. So now the kids are getting repeat customers who are paying them twice. And even if they bought it all at once, they're still getting more and more money because they're offering more and more products to their line. What they're doing is they tested the idea by starting small with a basic lemonade stand in the community to see who came by, how much they bought, to just kind of feel it out. And then they added, and then they added, and then they added, right? So although having a lemonade stand sounds cliche, it's actually one of my favorite ideas just because it is such great experience. Similar to a lemonade stand, you could offer an ice cream stand in the summer, hot cocoa in the winter, anything like that. You just want to be careful of the cottage food laws, which is food that comes from your house. Like maybe you're making bread and you sell your bread, or you have chickens and you sell your chicken eggs. There's different laws around that, although how about organizing and setting up other people's garage sale items for them? So our community has this big garage sale, but not everybody wants to wake up early that day and set up all their belongings, all their items, and not everybody wants to clean up after a long garage sale. You could come in and you could say, hey, I will set up for you. Just leave everything outside. I'll organize it, I'll set it up. All you have to do is walk outside at 8 or 9 in the morning and it'll be done. And then, I'll come back at 3 in the afternoon or 2 in the afternoon, whenever the garage sale's over, and I'll help you clean it up. I thought of another idea for you. Returning empty garbage bins to their place. Now, when I lived in an apartment, we threw all of our garbage into the dumpster, so this idea wouldn't have applied. when I lived in my last community, we had really short driveways, so it was no big deal for people to take out their garbage and put it back. However, now we live in the country, and so some people's driveways are 2/10 of a mile, and so they have to truck their garbage bin all the way down, and then after garbage is picked up, that evening they have to bring it back to their house. Wouldn't it be nice to have a service that brought your empty garbage bins back to your house each day? That's not bad. Or double it, you could take the full bins out and the empty ones back. Again, not a bad gig. The same idea of cleaning up, you could actually clean up dog poo from yards. I know that doesn't sound glamorous, although if you don't want to have to deal with people, if you don't want to talk to people, you enjoy being outside, you want to just put on your AirPods and go, you get people who have dogs and they poo wherever they poo, and not everybody wants to clean it up, but most people also don't want dog poo in their yard, and definitely no one wants to step in it. So you just go by a couple times a week, pick up the dog poo, and there you go. If you like technology and you like creating videos, you might enjoy creating stop motion videos that can be customized. So you could do a custom happy birthday video, or custom congratulations video, or custom I'm sorry for your loss, I'm sorry that you're moving, we're going to miss you, or a custom surprise. And these stop motion videos, they don't have to use a lot of resources. Stop motion videos are pretty low barrier to entry. They're not too difficult to make once you know how you're doing it, and they're really enjoyable to watch, and you can customize them and you can charge for it. Or once you get good at it, not only are you charging for the video, you can charge to teach other people how to make their videos. So there would be a product line, your video, and a service line, how to do it themselves. Lastly, how about planning, setting up, and cleaning up and running kids' birthday parties? Lots of parents want to give their kids a great experience for their birthday. Some of them even have a budget for this. However, not everybody wants to plan a party. They don't want to have to deal with the invitations or the RSVPs. They don't want to have to actually run the party. They want to be able to enjoy the party. And so if they had someone there who could help or handle the setup, handle the cleanup, and run the party so the parent can sit back and relax, that would be kind of great. So those are a few ideas that I've come up with to help you. I hope you have found this class to be beneficial and enjoyable, and I hope to see you again at another class in the future. Before we depart, and before I just say go find an idea, I want to walk you through the activity sheet that I have that goes along with the class that you've just joined me in. Ideation can be really hard, and it usually takes more than 40 minutes to come up with a great business idea. So I invite you now to join me over at our ideation worksheet, where I'll walk you through the steps to come up with a great idea yourself. We've already talked about these, so nothing should be unfamiliar. It should all be very doable. Remember, the best ideas don't just come to us. I mean, sometimes they do. Sometimes you're in the shower or taking a walk or eating your breakfast and you say, oh, light bulb, I've had a great idea. Although often, one idea will lead to another idea, and you'll hone it and you'll come up with an even better idea. So I want you to use our worksheets, the ones that you can download and you can use them multiple times over and over, to really come up with a great idea. And I don't want you to worry about how silly your idea is, how small it may seem, or how grandiose it is. Just stick with me and we'll get you started on starting your own business. And again, join me in the next class to continue on your entrepreneurship journey. First, on the activity sheet, we're going to start by writing down any ideas that you already have. Maybe you came into the class with an idea, maybe you thought of one, maybe you liked one you heard. We'll start by writing down these ideas, and then we'll go through the process together. So you might actually come up with something you like more, or you might start with your original idea and just tweak it a little bit and make it a game changer. So whatever it is that you write down, it doesn't matter if it's too big and feels overwhelming, or it's too small and seems insignificant. Any of your ideas, get them on paper. Once they're on paper, you can stop thinking about them and you can really focus on the next section, okay? Next, I want you on lines A, B, and C to list any problems that you experience or you see that you run into. I want you to just write them down. Now that you've written down the challenges, I want you to put a star next to the ones that you think you could actually solve if you had the right resources. And then below that, on lines 1 through 3, I want you to write down how you would solve each of those problems. And throughout this whole worksheet, if you don't have enough space, you can write in the margins, you can add paper, you can download another copy, you can write on the back, whatever it is, get everything in your mind on that paper. As we go through section 3, I want you to keep thinking about your hobbies and your interests. What products and services do you use that are good but, right? It's good, but it could be improved. So maybe you enjoy taking photos, but it's hard to keep the phone exactly even. It's good, but I need a level on my phone case. Or I really enjoy skateboarding and rollerblading and biking, although every time I fall, I hurt my elbow. It's a good experience, but I need an elbow pad. Or I enjoy ice skating and it's a good experience, but I need some ankle supports in my skates because my ankles are always sore. Anything that you do that is good but, right? I want you to write that on lines A, B, and C. What is it that you do? And then on the lines underneath it, 1, 2, and 3, I want you to write how those hobbies, how your interests could be improved. So that would be your elbow pad, right? That would be the phone case with the little level in it. Maybe you need a buddy to do things with you. It would be good, but I really need someone with me. Great, you could be that companion. You could sell companion services. As you move into section 4, I want to shift gears and look a little bit inward. What are you skilled at? What are you passionate about? I want you to write your skills and your passions on lines A, B, and C. Underneath that, on lines 1, 2, and 3, I want you to write how you can leverage those passions and skills into services. Section 5 will ask you which trends you follow. And on lines A, B, and C, I want you to write which trends you follow. And accordingly, on lines 1, 2, and 3, I want you to write how you can harness those trends to offer a product or a service or even to start a new trend. Stick with me, you're doing great. Section 6 will ask, what are your side projects? How do you spend your free time? I want you to answer that question on lines A, B, and C. Then underneath it, on lines 1, 2, and 3, I want you to write how you can turn your side projects into a service or a product. So I want you to write, I play video games and I can create a cheat sheet that I can sell. Or I can teach people how to play video games. I do string art and I can sell my string art. Whatever it is that your side project is, I want you to think about how you can offer that as a product or a service and how you can sell that. Moving into section 7, you'll see that we're going to be putting some information together. We're going to be compiling the information. You'll notice that everything was broken up into 2 sections, A, B, C, and 1, 2, 3. Here you are just using numbers 1, 2, and 3. These are your ideas, all right? We're gonna get them all onto one page to make it really easy. So I want you to go through the first set of pages that you've done, the first exercises, and write everything from lines 1 through 3, 1, 2, and 3, on the following lines for section 7. There are 21 spaces. If you need more, feel free to use extra space. Once you have your ideas written down, I want you to take a break, come back to it with a fresh mind, and look at your list. Place a star next to the ideas that you like a lot, and cross out the ones that you don't like at all. The ones that you think will not work, you don't like it, it has no interest, it doesn't spark a passion, you don't want to do it, cross those out, okay? The ones you like, put a star next to it. These ideas with stars, it's not locking you into anything, it is just going to be the foundation for the conversations you have coming up and the brainstorming sessions. Now let's say that you have 5 ideas that you like, great. If you have 10, great. If you have none, that's okay too. This next section, section 8, is going to help you massage your ideas, hone your ideas. If this section is all about asking questions and brainstorming. So I'm asking you to write down, who are you talking with? What are you talking with them about? How are you going to reach them? When are you going to do it? Why would they talk with you? Why would they answer your questions? Especially if you're talking with complete strangers, or maybe people you don't have a relationship with. As you go through these sessions, question and answers and brainstorming, I do think you should have a way to record the answers, because it is very likely that someone will say, oh, you know what, you should talk to this other person, or you should talk to these 3 other people. You're going to want to have a way to write that down. Who are they? How to reach them? And what I suggest is you keep a list of everyone you've talked about, because you may come back and talk with them again throughout the process. So it's really important to keep good relationships as much as you can with the people on this list. There's a question on here that we didn't talk about too much. It's how will you keep an open mind if you hear something that you don't like or that you don't agree with? A couple of tactics that I like to use to keep an open mind are, sometimes I'll take a drink and I'll give myself a moment to breathe. And oftentimes I'll ask a question back. So let's say somebody says that's a terrible idea. You can say, okay, what do you think is terrible about it? Or you can say, how do you think we could improve it? Or what would you do differently? What would you like to see different about it? And by resonating, where am I missing the mark? If you can put it on you, not that you're bad or wrong or anything, because it is their opinion, it is not a reflection on who you are as a person or the validity of who you are. They're simply talking about your idea. So don't take these conversations personally. It can be a hard conversation to hear. There are very, very few downsides to talking with people. So the worst that can happen is someone shoots your idea down. That's not the worst thing in the world. You'll be okay here. I've had many conversations where I think I have a great idea, and all of a sudden it gets shot down in 5 different ways. And you know what? It was a great idea, but usually the way it's shot down is, how will I reach my target audience and how will I make money? And both of those are very valid questions that should be asked in the beginning phases, and we'll talk about it in another course, so stay with me, come back. Although those questions lead me to, oh. Or someone will say, that's a terrible idea. You can't make money with that. And I'll say, yes, I can. And they'll say, great, how? And I'll say, oh, I don't know, I can't. Or at least not a significant amount to make it worth my time, energy, effort, resources, knowledge, experience, right? So section 8, you are creating a plan to talk with people. And I want you to implement your plan too, which means you may not be moving on in our worksheets until after you've actually talked with people. And that's okay. It's okay. This doesn't happen in 40 minutes. It doesn't happen in an hour. This ideation process to come up with a really good idea, it takes time. So give yourself the time that it needs. I want you to write your answers on lines 4, 5, and 6. There's 2 sections for this. It's both asking questions and brainstorming. So they both have their own section. I want you to write your answers on lines 4, 5, and 6. You want to make sure that you have the right idea to start a business. You don't want to just choose any idea. You're going to be investing your time, your energy, maybe your knowledge, experience, and yes, you will learn along the way. But you want to learn along the way when you start from success, not when you start from a place of meh. If you are doing that and you're going to start over or start from the middle, come back to this section, this page, when you have an idea that you like. As you go through the brainstorming process, the asking question process, I want you to come back to these activity sheets that we're doing and write down the responses if you come up with new ideas and new thoughts, anything that fits on the previous pages that would go on the previous pages. You might find you've gotten through the whole thing and you still don't have an idea that you love. Or you might try an idea and then say, well, it didn't work great, but I think I remember talking with people and there were some other great ideas. So if you write it down while it's fresh in your memory, you can keep this as a record for yourself and it'll be helpful in the future. If you have an idea that you already like, congratulations, it's time to put your plan into action. If you have more than one idea that you love, just choose one. Maybe your first entrepreneurial endeavor, otherwise it's early on in your entrepreneurial journey. Let's just stay focused on one. You can always come back. Now, you have the idea that you like, write it clearly below where it says, my idea is. And congratulations on formulating your business idea. You are ready to move on to the next phase. I will see you in an upcoming class. Very excited about it. Send me your notes, send me your business idea. I want to see it. I am here for you. And feel free to print off more than one of these copies and go through the stages as many times as you need to. Thanks so much for joining me.